changes. It was decided that a fuller revision was needed. We needed a new book. And so, the first part of that process was the implementation of what is called the General Instruction of the Roman Missal. Going back to the 1500s and the Roman Missal that was used in all of the churches around the world, all in Latin, up and through the 1960s, at the front of that book there was a general instruction. There was the rules, the rubrics, how Mass was to be celebrated throughout the whole world and throughout the whole church. And so, a new general instruction was put together. However, this general instruction also was called the New Order of Mass. And it first appeared in its final form in 1969. Now this orange book that I'm holding up is actually a very rare book. Few of them exist. And that is because of what's next on the slide. Before it was published in the final missal, or in the final big book with all the other prayers, Pope Paul VI ordered and wrote an addition of a preamble to the beginning of the text. So when the 1969 New Order of Mass was released, there was no preamble in it. It starts, section 1, importance and dignity of the Eucharistic celebration. Upon reading this, several cardinals approached Pope Paul VI and were very concerned that there was no explicit explanation that this new order wasn't something radically new, but that it was in faithful compliance with the overall tradition of the Catholic Church. And so what Pope Paul VI decided to do was to have, and personally write parts of, a preamble that would make that explicitly clear. And so, very few of these were translated into English. This is one of them. I found it at a used bookstore. I bought it for $2 at King's Book in downtown Detroit, which is one of the largest used bookstores in the country. And I was very happy when I found it because I'm just weird like that. But this book in Latin was pulped, literally. He had all of the versions of it ground up, gotten rid of. And then only the version that contained the preamble was published. And so, that preamble remained almost completely unchanged in all three editions of the Roman Missal that would come about from 1969 until 2002. And so, we have at the front of the book that the priest uses to say Mass, this general instruction having its roots in the instructions that come from the Constitution of the Sacred Liturgy, and ultimately have been, for the most part, unchanged, although there's been some additions and subtractions from the overall general instruction over the years. So why is all of this so important? And I thought at this point it would be a good moment for us to reflect, with someone else's voice being used, on the importance of the Eucharist in our lives.
The Eucharist is the enactment, it's the experience of the dying and rising of Christ.
The Eucharist is the source and the summit of the Church's life, and so we are never more the Church than when we celebrate the Eucharist together. For that reason, it's obviously central to our lives as Catholics. Certainly when we come to Mass together, we come to a great awareness that we're called to be part of something that's so much greater than ourselves.
We come to worship to be fed, to be nourished, to nourish each other by our struggle to believe, and to continue to ponder together the texts and the life experience that we bring there with it, because every time we come, it's a new moment. Each Holy Week is a new experience of dying and rising.
When we celebrate the Mass, we stand at the threshold of a very great reality, where eternity intersects with time.
In the Eucharist, we receive the body of Christ in order to become the body of Christ, so that we ourselves will be transformed and we will become the body of Christ, so as to live and act and work as the body of Christ in the world. That's the purpose for which the Eucharist has been given to the Church.
We've received the structure of the Eucharist from the time of the Apostles. The basic structure is there, and the content is the same.
St. Paul said to the church in Corinth, right at the beginning of the early church, I have given to you what I myself received from the Lord. That's what the liturgy of the church is always trying to do, being faithful to what they have received from the Lord Jesus, and to pass it on in that spirit of faithfulness.
It's been carefully preserved from one generation of worshipers to another. It is a treasure that has been handed down to us.
Dying, you destroyed our death. Rising, you restored our life. Jesus' dying and rising is what gave us salvation.
It is a participation in and derives from the passion, death, resurrection, ascension of Christ, which is the Paschal mystery, by which he brought us home to the Father.
God is giving us everything that is within him in exchange for everything that is within us, which is often so very imperfect. And that's the wonderful exchange that takes place in the Eucharist, of Christ pouring himself out so that his very life might be coursing through our own veins in this holy communion.
We are not here just as individuals to bring our own little sacrifice to God. We are here as a church to make an offering. The local church makes the universal church present. We believe that in a mysterious way, the whole church is present with us. The whole church on earth, as well as the church in heaven. Also, all the great men and women on whose shoulders we stand as members of the church are all with us when we engage in the liturgy.
We gather for Eucharist and then we go. We gather and we go. It's a sense there that the Eucharist is like the heartbeat of the church. And in that rhythm of life, the church lives.
To receive this great gift is what the privilege of living the faith life is, and then to hand it on is our challenge and our responsibility.